So guys, if you follow the story of Unhlanhla Mkhwanazi, this gentleman, you do not have to pass this video. So I received a letter from a whistleblower. So that guy, he works within the Hawks. So Nabobati, they are so, like they are heartful. It becomes so difficult, especially that guy as a second in South Africa. And Bati Upol is a very, very dangerous person. And a food we threat to the South African Police Service. Maraname, why am I sounding like Godfrey Libenya when he was interviewed by Clement Mayatela? But nevertheless, seems like everybody these days when I see whistleblower. So guys, it is alleged but Upol, he doesn't work alone. He works through via the News 24, ENCA, Ground Up, Biz News, and insiders in the law enforcement and the NPA. So umsebenzi wakhe wenzani? He leaks half truth, make legal threats, floods the media with a manga, and then they will run with the story and claim to destroy your reputation. Some abanye bambiza ngokuthi uyi Mr. Fixer, boom driver, like we are Shanyela, if ever you've got scandals, MI6, double agent, kahle nje, but uyinja ye game into the politics of South Africa. So let's say, for example, you are implicated in some shenanigans, and then, or you've got police warrants, or amapoisa, they want to arrest you. You are managed, unemali, uzofonela uPaul. Obviously, upatele some money, and then uPaul uzowenzani, he will divert the matter to somewhere else and clean your name. Even if it involves tax, he will make a plan. If the situation is worse, they will suppress the matter through the media without you being arrested, and then when you'll continue with your corruption just as usual. And it is also alleged that he has helped many business people and the politician. So guys, on the 6th of July, General Mkhwanazi dropped the bomb, and Upol was the first person to comment aggressively. And Mkhwanazi, the strange thing, Upol was not mentioned when Mkhwanazi dropped that bomb. Why? You must ask yourself that. The thing that makes Upol asilingeke cool about this matter, Mkhwanazi, it is alleged who implicated some of our Bruskap Bagapol publicly, and Upol agas how can he clean up this mess? And that is the thing that triggered him and makes him so angry. So like my question, why would I be angry if someone is fighting for South Africans, especially knowing that Inyawupe kills the youth of South Africa? Let's look at what Paul said after Mkhwanazi dropped that bomb.
I can't second guess what's going on inside the head of a criminal like Mkhwanazi, but the reality of the situation is he's overstepped his mark. It's not the job of a provincial commissioner to start accusing the government, the judiciary, the National Prosecuting Authority, and the Minister of Police, for that matter, of being criminals. And that's what he did today. And I want to see that man fall, and the sooner the better.
Paul O'Sullivan, thanks for talking to us this evening.
So guys, what makes the matters worse, if Mkhwanazi uye uPaul wathi, Paul, this is the situation, and then uPaul bezothatha lawo ma allegations ayekulabantu labo that are alleged and say, here's the situation, you're going to be arrested, faka imali. Because of, if you don't faka imali, you will be arrested. That's how Paul operates. He even tried to do that with Lucky Montana when he was implicated into the Zondo Commission. I will share the video later about Lucky Montana. But Paul, like is also said, Paul companies are making money. Nobody knows. The other thing, Paul during the Palapala Farm scandal, he protected Cupcake to the core. And Paul is a very, very arrogant person. He's above everyone in South Africa. A self-appointed fraud investigator. Nobody knows who to appointed as a fraud investigator. Before I forget, guys, Nisas Kumbula is story Samamoti brothers engashare a month ago. It is also alleged ukuthi Paul is a friend of Ubaba of those brothers. You will connect the dots, guys, about the boys' disappearance and as well as nearly 200 million rand of pills that disappeared in KZN. Also, Nyakumbula Upol, when he was invited by Usakina at SABC and the conversation went south and the EFF didn't appreciate the behavior of Upol in that interview. Let's look at that evidence, and then after you will hear what the EFF, what was their response.
As the head of the President's security detail there, you didn't know that?
I had no idea. It wasn't my business, and I hadn't bothered looking at it.
So it became your business when he implicated you.
Excuse me?
When did it become
Who do you
your
think
business?
you're talking to?
Well, I'm asking a question. We're having a conversation.
No, you're not asking a question. You're trying to implicate me. And if that's the way you're going to carry on, we shouldn't continue this discussion. Let me make one thing clear to you. I have no interest whatsoever in Phala or what goes on there. But when I see Arthur Fraser, who stole hundreds of millions of rand from this country, trying to avoid jail by dreaming up stories and putting them into the media, I then start looking at all the people involved in that. I run a charity called Forensics for Justice, and we take it upon ourselves to investigate people like Arthur Fraser. And he put himself firmly onto my radar screen. And it's no coincidence that back in 2012, when Rueda was involved in hanky-panky with other people in the NPA, it's no coincidence that I then discover he got off the hook then as well.
Mm-hmm. And as I said,
I'm not going to have people, whether they're criminals or journalists, trying to implicate me. So if you come with any more dodgy questions, I'm closing this call.
But what's a dodgy question, Mr. O'Sullivan? You said
Your
he was not
question
my
tried to
business up
implicate
until
me.
that point.
Your
So I
question-
asked a follow-up question
okay,
asking,
fine,
when
thank
did
you.
he become your business? Wow, that's Mr. Paul O'Sullivan there. And as I said, Mr. O'Sullivan says that Wally, I asked him, when did he become interested in investigating Major General Wally Rueda? And he explains that and says, well, he was not my business up until that point when he implicated me. And I asked, so, you know, basically, so he was not my business. So I asked, when did he become your business? And I don't know what's wrong with that. But that's what Mr. O'Sullivan has to say. He says he's not going to answer a dodgy question. I don't know what a dodgy question is. We don't know what's...
White man goes on SABC, Paul O'Sullivan. Paul O'Sullivan thinks that everybody in South Africa is scared of him. Someone who's got access to him, he must be told that we in the EFF are not scared of Paul O'Sullivan. We will never allow Paul O'Sullivan to hold this country at ransom. No British spy will ever hold this country at ransom. Paul O'Sullivan, who is a handler of Cyril Ramaphosa from apartheid times, goes in an interview. Sakina Kamendo asks a simple question. A white man becomes pink and starts speaking to her rudely because who's this girl to ask me questions? I'm a white man. No black girl will ask me this type of questions. That's what he was saying effectively. But let me tell you, no NGO has issued a statement condemning him because he's a white man insulting an African woman. No SANEF has issued a statement. No tribal authority. No church pastor. No elders nonsense. That's why now I don't listen to all these fools, irrespective of their ages, because they are hypocrites. When it favors them, they say nothing.
So before I reach to the climax of this story, guys, apparently, Paul specializes in creating accusations against your name. And then those accusations becomes the conviction in the public eye. through the media, and then the media will run with the story, drag your reputation. Meanwhile, the courts, they will find nothing under your name. So when your career will be gone. So what Mkhwanazi did on the 6th of July was well calculated, guys. And it is what is protecting him currently, because the following people that I'm going to mention now, pay attention, get in a paper and a pen. The people that I'm going to mention now, it is alleged that these are some of the people that are on the hit list of UPOL. So here's the official alleged hit list of people that were destroyed by UPOL. Neyamkhumbula uKhomotso Phahlane, the former national commissioner. Her house was raided live on TV, with Paul allegedly posing as Hawks or IPT agent. Allegations ka Khomotso was the allegation of the 54 million rand SAPS tender fraud. What happened to the case? The case collapsed. No conviction, just humiliation that was orchestrated by Paul. Number 2, Benning Ntlemeza, the former Hawks head or chief. Legally removed, never criminally charged, and then UPOL led a well-coordinated smear campaign using friend wake media and activist courts. So what happened to Ntlemeza? Destroyed. Number 3, Prince Mokotedi, the former Gauteng head of Hawks, laid a treason charge against UPOL, and then UPOL tried to negotiate, and then it was reported that they offered him some renowned citizenship, and then what happened to the case? The case quietly buried. Prince shared this picture on X, and then he alleged that UPOL has 3 passports. Take note, guys, people with multiple passports, when the shit hits the fan, they will stage a death and disappear, just like our Gavin Uzobacho. Ushai say what someone on M1 driving a Golf 1 and the body disappeared or the body bent, blah blah blah, and then you must take note of that. Also, it is said when you follow protocol just like Mkhwanazi, your story, it will never reach Lagmele Iriche corner. This is also what Prince shared on X. He was silenced until today. Number 4, Nongqobo Jiba, an advocate. She was targeted for years, allegedly, by UPOL. Removed via commission, NPA refused to prosecute her. No court case, no conviction. Media was fueled with distractions only. Number 5, Shaun Abrahams, former NPA boss. He was overthrown after the Technical Constitution Court ruling. No corruption was found, never charged with the crime. But what happened to the reputation? Gone. Busisiwe Mkhwebane, former public protector. She was challenged with the status quo, buried under court judgment, coordinated press attacks, and no criminal conviction until today. Just the political theater, guys. Take note. Number 7, Jacob and Arthur Fraser. I don't need to tell you who are they. They were challenged with charges, and then ENCA and BizNews, they carried the story aggressively, guys. Aggressive. They ran with the story each and every day. They were publishing stories about these two. No arrest, no trial, just noise. Media is South Africa. Number 8, Fanny Masemula, the current SAPS National Commissioner. In 2024, guys, Paul wrote a letter to the president, copy media houses demanding arrest of Fanny without the evidence. And then Cupcake, what did he do? What Blutika letter? Because it was built on speculations, no evidence. Let me attach the letter. Here's the letter. This is page number 1. You will pause the video and read your letter yourself. Page number 2. Page number 3, and then the rest. So that's going to happen. Pause the video and then you will read the letters, guys. So at some point, Paul once said he's coming for Masemula and he wants him gone. Like, guys, who is he to remove the whole national commissioner in South Africa? South Africa is, you must open your eyes with this guy. And recently, Fanny Masemola said that it has been easier to record some of the JCPS, Justice Crime Prevention and Security Cluster cases because of that bomb that was dropped by Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Let's see at the video.
We have impact on that, which are not necessarily within the subs. It's quite a wide in the criminal justice system. So, yeah, since then there has been an improvement. We agree, and we have seen it, and reasons are quite vast. It's either enrolling cases. Remember, police don't just wake up and enroll cases. There are those that make decisions on the enrollment. So probably there has been some improvement in that regard in the enrollment of cases, and they are doing their work, and it's quite their work is quite packed. It's a lot that they still have to do, which is ready to roll and go and enroll those cases at court. So they will still be coming.
Was something preventing them previously that before the military?
As I said, there were quite a lot of problems across the JCPS, the criminal justice system. So certain areas, there has been some easiness of some sort. I wouldn't know why, but as I said, the enrollment of cases at some point was a problem, and now the cases are being enrolled. Hence, you see them doing quite tremendous work, and they have a lot on the plate. They will still be continue doing.
So the next one, number 9, is Machela Koko, guys. Machela Koko and Brian Molefe. They were former Eskom CEO, accused of looting Eskom. Koko tried, collapsed. Molefe remains not convicted. It was just fireworks of media, legal misfires. Number 10, this is the most favorite target of Paul. Number 10, Judge John Hlophe, former Western Cape Judge President. He was painted as the face of judicial rot. Still no prosecution, still no case. He was tried by media only. Nothing that was found in court. Number 11, Hangwani Mulaudzi, former Hawks spokesperson, stood up to Paul, refused to retract the Paul's statement that he was assisting Hawks. And then Paul allegedly used a paid cousin of his to fabricate a lottery fraud story. In 2019, it was reported that he stole or he bribed somebody 6 million rand to squash the Bushiri case. So Insider says that it was a setup, and then Hawks hierarchy buried his effort, then illegally monitored. A year later, 2020, 3 million investigations commenced. Hawks planned to nail him with 1.4 theft from the SAPS Entertainment Fund. They fabricated the fake luxury vehicle purchases and lavish lifestyle claims. It all hit as snakes lies. Just calculated revenge. The case is still pending. Number 12, Michael Masuta, former Justice and Correctional Minister, refused to remove Jiba or Abrams without the due process. Labeled compromise. No charges, no wrongdoings, just integrity under fire and reputation destroyed. Number 13, Lindiwe Sisulu spoke up about the judicial elitism. ENCA and Ground Up launched a coordinated story and hits. No crime committed except challenging Paul aligned and establishment. Number 14, Dudu Nyene, former SAA chairperson, was crucified for questioning dodgy runnings of SAA and transformation that she became the target. Though now she wasn't innocent, she had those smallanyana skeletons. And then the media crucified as well, no conviction. It is also alleged, guys, Uti Ujamnandas, the one lower show now, was the bruiser of Upol. And Upol was used to destroy Ududu for refusing to sell ESAA. So South Africans benzani but blame the poor Cupcake. Cupcake on this one, guys. Number 15, Lucky Montana. Lucky Montana, guys, lost his properties, somebody broke into his house looking for non-existing evidence. His evidence was rejected at Zondo Commission. And then, Okunya, guys, like his allegations was that he was charged for 4.5 billion rand for tender fraud at Prasa. The media published lies, and then including courts, judges, no conviction, just the media audience. So, like his implication into the state capture, guys, it was that ukuthi kumele aya ayocleana igama lakhe kuZondo Commission, and ulaki lapha kuZondo Commission he mentioned isikhohlakali esinguPaul. Let's look at the video with what did Lucky say.
And let me say, Chair, I've even seen statements, financial statements, and you remember in my affidavit, I've called for this commission to subpoena the companies and the financial statements and bank statements of all companies that belong to Paul O'Sullivan. You'll actually see, Chair, that the modus operandi is very simple. If you are in trouble, Paul arrives. He's got his enforcers, and his enforcers come from Cape Town. I've come face to face with them at the Da Vinci Hotel. The Chair, they insist you must pay them, and therefore they sort out the case. They also pay on the other side at SARS. So you can't tell me about SARS. One of the most corrupt organizations that we have, okay? And I'm still gonna, Chair, I'm saying these people because I want, Chair, for me, I want this commission to focus on what it should focus on. The real capture. And when you move beyond O'Sullivan, Chair, so they go to SARS and the police. He sent me emails and said, Montana, I think it was in 2018. Montana, I've got good news for you. You are going to be arrested before Christmas. I said, I'm happy for you, Mr. O'Sullivan. Happy New Year. I'll see you in January in 2019. So he tried to intimidate me, Chair. And I told him that he's one of the number one criminal in the country and the biggest crook. The intelligence services, our law enforcement agencies are afraid to deal with Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. And because they're afraid
I want to limit you now because we're dealing with the properties, but I wanted you to...
Yes, Chair. In a gang that wanted to extort money from me and other people, and then they went to riot. Afterwards, that's when this 22 affidavit came and accused me of all sorts of things. And that is why I want Mr. O'Sullivan, I want Werksmans here. And you know, it's going to be very interesting, Chair, because I want to use that cross-examination.
And then, guys, this is the list. The list goes on, guys. I can go on. It's just that I don't have time. Some of the people that are on the list: Thuli Madonsela, former public protector; Nathi Nhleko, former minister of police. Like, guys, Paul is a very, very dangerous person in South Africa because of like what Mkhwanazi did, expose the corruption in the SAPS, naming Usibiya, Umchunu. Now Mkhwanazi is facing the character assassination, denial, and threats. So the same formula that was used to destroy Untlemeza is being used against Mkhwanazi to destroy him as well. You must take note of that. Because like, I challenge the investigating journalists to investigate these people mentioned and connect the dots. They will find the truth of the real and police judiciary state capture. The ad hoc committee and the judiciary commission of inquiry, like before they even interview Mkhwanazi evidence, they must summon Paul, then they will see fireworks. So my final story in closing, guys, I want to say, like, Paul isn't just holding power to account. Paul with power in South Africa. If you want to clean your name, you contact Paul. Like, who needs courts when you've got media and journalists on the speed dial? Who needs court? You don't need court because, like, the media will clear your name. So he's judge, jury, and executioner without inconvenience of an evidence. So he doesn't expose the rot, he decides who's rotten. While officials get trialed by the media and then Paul's, what does he get? He gets or enjoys full immunity because accountability is for everyone else. So South Africa, Mkhwanazi's courage must be protected, not punished. Like, repost, and what's your comment on this? I thank you.